Well, my symptoms were a blessing. I started out with I'm going to speak clinically, diarrhea. And I had just come off a business trip where I'd taken like 7 different flights and I'd eaten in 21 different spots. And I thought, oh, shoot, isn't this great? Get to finish this long flight home, run into the bathroom on the airplane. But normal over-the-counter stuff didn't work, and I thought that was strange, and I wasn't feeling really good. And about 2 weeks after that trip, I delivered my youngest to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Go Mustangs. And so I had to get through that, but right before we took him up there, I went to the urgent care and said, okay, you think it's parasites? He says, well, let's take a sample and we'll put you on this nasty stuff that'll take care of it if it is, and where should I send the results? I said, I'm having an annual physical on Friday, so send him to my doctor. Well, the PA that I normally go to there, she looked at that and she said, okay, well, let's take some blood work just to be sure because it's not resolving yet. Stay on the medication and I'll see you next week. Okay, I show up. Blood work's, liver enzymes are elevated, your blood sugars are a little high. Maybe, and you're looking a little jaundiced, so maybe some hepatitis. So we tested for that in the following week. Not hepatitis, and we don't like the jaundice. So something's blocking your bile duct. Okay, that was a little frightening, but that was a Monday, and by Friday morning I had the news that I had a tumor on my pancreas. At that point, I believe that we were, I don't know how faithful you guys all are, but in my case, we were in God's hands. The doctor handed me a card for a UCLA oncologist in my town of Westlake Village, where there's a UCLA health center. That was at 8 o'clock in the morning. At 9 o'clock, I called to get an appointment. They said, first available is Monday. Okay. My husband and I are, of course, in shock. And at that time, I didn't know there were survivors. I had known 7 people who had already died from this disease. So I didn't know it was possible. And they said first available Monday, and about an hour and a half later, I had a call from the doctor's office who said, she's going to work you in on her lunch break. And by the time I got in there at 12:30, between 12:30 and 2:30, she spent all that time with us. She'd already scheduled more scans for Monday. She had me set up down here to have my endoscopy and my stent put into my bile duct, and I have an appointment with Dr. Donahue that Thursday. And I also worked in a diabetes doctor because I am now insulin dependent, which I'm competitive, but I understand from Dr. Donahue that 15% get to be diabetic, so there you go. That's my special thing. So from there, Dr. Donahue, I didn't know the medical field could work that fast, but in 1 week, I went through that whole process, and I believe it's because it hadn't spread yet. They were really anxious to make sure that if I was eligible for surgery, that I would be able to get it. But I was your classic example of what the doctors presented today. My tumor was small, hadn't spread, but it was blocking the bile duct, and it was also impinging on the major vein and artery. So Dr. Donahue said, no, let's torture. Well, you didn't use the word torture, but my oncologist calls it torture, so I'll use it. So I went through a very aggressive chemotherapy regimen of 5-FU, the oxaliplatin, and the irinotecan, and did that for almost 6 months, every 2 weeks, and had the famous, pump for a couple of, it was no fun. Wilson, yeah, but in my case, I went through the port right away. So your recommendation is good, but I had my port in before I had my first infusion, yeah. Then went back to Dr. Donahue again. He says, it's shrunk, but it's not good enough. So then I went to, he wanted me to do radiation, and that was in combination with the Xeloda, the oral chemo that turns, I guess, into 5-FU. And yes, that is aptly named. 5-FU is aptly named. One of the other ones has mentioned that they had all the symptoms possible from all of these side effects. They pull out the nurses and they tell you all the side effects that you can experience. And I can only say I did not experience nausea or constipation. I lost 35 pounds. So you can deduce that, since October of 2013, things have not been normal since. And then after that, Dr. Donahue said, okay, we're going to go for it. So we did do the Whipple on June 23rd of 2013. and it came out with clear margins and 25 clear lymph nodes, and but that wasn't good enough for Dr. Call. She's had me do Gemzar, and my last Gemzar treatment was in early December of 2014. So I still have my port in, and I'm back to work. I'm doing really well. I had an amazing support system, and I have to say, nobody's mentioned this yet, but the very first week, in fact, we were down here to see Dr. Donahue. One of my dear friends, Karen, came to meet with us and go through the process with us, and she said, you need a Caring Bridge site. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard anybody. It's a great website where you can establish your story on there, and you can post daily updates if you choose to do it daily or not. But that does, there's so many people that come into your life that have been in your life that all of a sudden just, I mean, they're there for you. And Karen says you're going to get tired telling everybody the same story every day, and you're not going to be able to do it. So Caring Bridge is a way to do it, and they can post, and in my case, and I'm sure it would be in your case too, very uplifting, positive messages, prayers, whatever it is from, I have Buddhists that meditated for me, bless them, and the support from my church, my family, my kids. But my kids have their favorite hashtag is kick cancer's butt, and they put it on everything. And so I highly recommend the Caring Bridge, definitely, because I would reread that. I would be feeling crappy, and I would be sitting in my favorite chair with my dog, and I would just start reading all of these messages from all of these people that had so much meaning in my life through all these years, and all of those things just kept uplifting me and keeping that positive mindset that I think is really important. Everybody's expressed it. The positive mindset is so important. My friend Lori's here from Genentech. Give her a sales boost there. She said it's mind, body, and spirit. It all works together to be able to handle what you're going to get thrown into. It's devastating, but hey, I'm here. Thanks to an amazing medical team. Yeah, thank you.